it was not taken out of context when she calls for a jihad against the White House.
Well, I mean, it clearly wasn't taken out of context. Everybody I know who posted this story posted the entire video as well as a large portion of the transcript from what she said. I don't think anybody is claiming that she openly called for violence against President Trump, but jihad means more than just internal struggle or quote-unquote struggle for good. I mean, we all know that there are terrorists all over the world who invoke the word jihad as justification for what they do. And Linda Sarsour knows that, too. I mean, she knows how to make a headline. She is a radical anti-Semite who has backed terrorists in the past. She's a person who has said that I am personally should have her
woman who's not here to
she's not being smeared, okay? She's just telling the truth.
You'll get a chance in a moment.
Proudly standing for justice. Don't smear a woman
she's not proudly standing for justice. She's an Islamist and she's a Muslim.
I'll talk about CARE instead. CARE is an organization that was an unindicted co-conspirator in the Holy Land
Right,
Foundation.
shift the topic, exactly. Never indicted. Don't try to drown out the conversation. Let's talk about what jihad means. Jihad means striving for truth.
Let me ask you, Hassan,
exactly what she's doing.
If
you want to talk about context, let's talk about the full context.
Yes, go ahead and ask me.
Okay, this is what I want to ask you.
The fact that she began this speech by praising a guy who has in the past talked about how jihad includes violent jihad.
Yes, explain that, guy. Explain that.
That you can just, you're the one taking this one line out of context and suggesting that it only refers to
Well, I encourage everybody just to listen to the speech for herself.
We listen to the speech.
In your opinion, is socialism a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, I think people kind of throw that word around to try to scare you. But
scare
if
you?
People is socialism, then
it's all socially. Let's all live socially together. In the future, not now.
As a concept,
as he's holding his iPad and his Starbucks drink.
I think that it's got a bad rep.
Trying to spread the wealth is definitely a good thing in America.
Sure, why not when you don't have any?
There's a lot of things with social welfare that I think would be good to have.
Do you have a positive reaction to socialism or a negative one?
I'd say a more positive one. I'm
positive?
More open to it.
We should have a standard of living for all people.
All people, man. Standard of living. All people.
By default, that should just be
if we did it democratically, then we could really incorporate socialism.
Like, it definitely seems
democratic
like
socialism.
A more feasible option, and it could help more people. Like, just as a broad term, it could help.
Like the 100 million that were killed in 100 years.
I mean, honestly, that definition gets thrown around a lot. I'm not exactly sure.
How would you?
No, I'm just an idiot.
Is, Economically, what is socialism?
Economically.
Hey, hold your Starbucks up there, fella. And your iPad.
I'm gonna think about that for a second.
Yeah, you got to think about it.
I guess just.
I hope this guy's not in finance.
Just getting rid of that wealth gap in the United States.
Oh, the wealth gap.
How would I describe it as little words possible?
Yeah, you have no clue, do you?
How would you define socialism?
I mean, it's definitely more of an open form of government, and it feels like
open form.
A lot more accessible to a lot more people.
Right, a lot more accessible to graveyards.
More accessible and more kind of like equal ground. Yeah.
Equal ground.
What does that mean necessarily, though?
Yeah, what's it mean? The word salad.
To be quite honest, I don't know.
Hello, Mr. D'Souza. I'm a op-ed writer for the school paper. And full disclosure, I wrote an article saying that I think you're a hack. Now, I came with an open mind, and I was disappointed to find
he's an open-minded hack.
The current president's comments, yours are based on sort of shallow logic, lack of expertise, no real facts, and economic ignorance. But
he planned that line.
Conservatives have said that too. But I have a question about the broader conservative philosophy, and this gets back to what you said about trade. Now, you said that we got to get trade back in order. But with the trend in technology nowadays, the real threat is not trade and loss of jobs overseas, but automation, artificial intelligence, the replacement of many of the jobs that serve as a starting level for economic advancement. What role does conservatism have in a world in which machines and automation can take the place of much of human labor and activity that generates income and value for everyday people?
All right, well.
Go Dinesh.
Man. Let me say this. If it is the case that in what I said tonight, and I put some fairly incendiary material on the table, if I had said something that was even arguably wrong, factually wrong, about the Democratic Party or about fascism or about Trump, it would be very easy for someone to point it out. So normally, if you're going to call someone a hack, you should kind of try to establish your own bona fides. You know,
way to go, Dinesh! Your own bona fides. There you go.
It's
The guy
okay.
picked it. It's okay. Your own bona fides. That's right. There you go.
It's okay.
Check and mate. Check and mate Dinesh D'Souza.
Look, a certain amount of moral indignation is the staple of being a late teen. And so I think we should be indulgent. Now, technology. Look, here's the point. We have seen in the United States the ordinary working guy, I don't just mean the white guy, the black guy, the Hispanic guy, the working class in this country has been hit by 3 powerful winds blowing in the same direction. And those winds are named globalization, immigration, and technology. Now,
get for
what
short.
does the Democratic Party plan to do about any of these?
Just talk about
And
it.
the
Nothing
answer
else.
is nothing.
There you
nothing.
go.
Obama did nothing. Hillary
right.
proposed to do nothing. In fact, what the Democratic Party wants to do is to increase the problem of illegal immigration, motivated solely by getting Democratic voters, with complete indifference to the impact on the worker.
They've got to replace the black voters.
Tonight you have presented the Republican Party as advocating on behalf of individual liberties, even if that means deregulation so that there could be a smaller government and essentially people can have...
Here comes a white liberal, folks, the elitist social
Despite the
justice
fact that
warrior,
that might undermine the Clean Water
virtue
Act
signaling
and
student.
companies to pollute the waters with toxic waste with no repercussions. However, my question to you is, how can you explain the deregulation that the Republican Party supports for smaller government and simultaneously the hundreds, if not thousands, of bills passed by Republican officials since 2011 that have policed the woman's body and limited female access to contraceptives and
Abortion. They're the abortion question. The abortion.
All right.
Abortion contortion. Where do you begin,
Somewhat
Dinesh?
like the mosquito in the nudist colony, I'm trying to figure out where to begin.
There you go. There you go.
Well, all right.
Why don't you start right between the eyes?
I'll say a very quick word about abortion, a very quick word about deregulation. Abortion first. We talk about birth control and abortion. Let's set aside for one moment the debate about whether or not abortion is a constitutional right. I would submit that it is not. You can read the Constitution, squeeze lemon juice on it, hold it upside down, it's just not in there. But let's assume it was. Let's assume it was sort of invisibly there as part of the Bill of Rights. Right up there with free speech and right up there with the right to religion and the right to assembly and so on. Here's my question to you. Why should the abortion right be subsidized when none of our other fundamental rights are?
Bravo, bravo, bravo.
I mean, you have a right to free speech. Does the government give you money to start a newspaper? You have a Second Amendment right to own a gun. Is the government going to buy you a shotgun?
Hell
you have a right
no.
to free assembly. You got to do it on your own time. You have a right to free exercise of religion. The government's not going to pay for your churches.
Never.
So, since the government pays for none of our other fundamental rights, why does this right get to be in a category of itself?
Yes,
That's my
why?
point number one. Pivoting to point number two. No corporation that pollutes the water should be allowed to do that because that is an actual infringement upon the common good. In other words, that is actually doing harm to the public. This is completely different from the real point of deregulation. The real point of deregulation is to create a scope in which individuals can transact freely. Now, let me give you an example of what I mean. We have a right to health care, and presumably we have an equivalent right to food, right? To eat. What could be more basic than the right to food? Now let's assume that the government establishes not Obamacare, because that's healthcare, but an Obama right to food. And the basic idea here is that when you go to the grocery store, you get food, and somebody else will pay.
So true.
So you walk into the grocery store, you fill up your cart. I would submit, first of all, that you will excessively fill up your cart because you're not
Bring
paying.
your whole family.
And you're going to show up at the counter, at which point the woman behind the counter will notice that not only have you excessively filled up your cart, but since you're not paying, you don't care what the prices are. And so suddenly milk will start costing $45 because some third guy is actually going to be footing the bill.
The guy who's getting screwed, which is the American public.
What's wrong with our healthcare system? That whenever you go to the doctor, the reason that it costs $3,000 when you have a cold is not because it actually costs $3,000. If you were paying, they'd bill you $75. But since you're not paying, and the insurance company is paying, and the government is paying them, the doctor realizes, I'm going to run 45 tests, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, it's all going to be money in my pocket, it's going to be money for the hospital, and this poor dude isn't the worse off. So most of the time when we go to the doctor, we don't even ask what it's going to cost, because we don't care, because some third guy is paying.
Getting screwed.
So the argument for deregulation is to try to create a healthcare system where people do have healthcare protections, but in which costs are kept down because the guy who's receiving the service is actually paying for it.
Man, oh man, that was a great compilation, folks. Wonderful compilation. And Dinesh D'Souza, man, on fire. Took two nice combinations, right? The old left-right to that guy. Literally within seconds. Got him on the bona fides and then got him on the temper tantrum. Amazingly clever, amazingly witty, right off the cuff, and then went into, his diatribe, basically. And then when the girl's asking the questions, again, just concise, precise, basically said, what if I gave it to you and said, okay, it is a constitutional right. Why should that be paid for? Why should that be subsidized? Absolutely correct. And then the food bank, in terms of having a food bank insurance, man, oh man, that is a great way to talk to people about why healthcare is so screwed over in this country. Because some other guy is paying for it. Well, there's a story about LASIK surgery, why it's become so cheap and cost effective. At the same, prices have come down, quality has gone up, care is available. It's because it's deregulated. Insurance doesn't pay for it. So there's competition that's involved. Competition within states, competition outside of states. You find a doctor within your state, you call up, hey doc, I need to get cataract surgery. I need to get something done. You know what? Hey, this is how much I charge. Now you can make a decision. You want to go to that doctor? You want to go to another doctor? Look at the pricing. Look at their expertise, how long they've been doing it. Go from there. Pricing on the lenses, all that kind of stuff. You can price and basically say, okay, because you're literally going to be paying out of pocket. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasser Shake Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasser. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, you all know what to do. Hit that subscription button. Hit that notification bell. Like, share, and follow us. Take a look at our other video links above and below. Share your comments. We'd love to hear from you. And my final thought, as always, is when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.